Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Meal Prep Monday. So, another Monday, we are almost in June. I can't believe 5 months have flown by of this year already. It's crazy. So, we decided, unfortunately, Coach Kim was supposed to join me, but her son had to have a last minute operation. So, it's just me in the kitchen today. But we decided that to tie in with the last month's ocean cleanup with the NSRI and that whole challenge, we wanted to do something along the lines of reduce, reuse, and recycle. So that is this week's Meal Prep Monday. We are going to be making stock from things that we would normally throw away. But before we get on to that, let me know who's here, how your weekend was, if you're signing up for any of the challenges, and what you normally do with a vegetable stock. Who have we got? Christina, hello. Karen, hello. Nice of you guys to join us today. So, as I said, we are going to be making a vegetable stock with scraps that we normally throw away. So, I don't know if you do the same, but when I've chopped a carrot and you get to that last little bit where the leaves would come out or the root of an onion, that bit goes in the bin, but we can actually keep all of that and use it to make a stock. Hello, Kelly. So, this shouldn't take us too long, but I'm going to get started because it does need to simmer away. So, in this bag, Ziploc bag, is all the things that would normally go in the bin. You could also use it to make compost, which Kim was going to show us. She's got a worm farm at home. How cool does that sound? So, all of this would go towards making compost, but I'm going to just empty it out here so that you can see what's in this bag. So every time there's something that you would normally throw in the bin, put it in a Ziploc bag in the freezer, and then you can keep it to make something else. And veggie stocks, usually the cubes that you can buy are really high in salt, but this is homemade. It's going to be delicious, and so much that we can do with it. So we can talk about that a little bit later, all the different ways to use your vegetable stock. But so not only the things that you would throw away, like celery leaves, those would go in the bin, so we can use those to add some nice flavor to our stock. There is the end of an onion with the root on it. We can use that. The ends of different color peppers, we're going to chop those up. And then when your mushrooms start to look a little bit sad and brown, use the mushrooms. Any spinach leaves, kale leaves, when they start to go a little bit sad looking, pop them in a stock and you won't even know. What else have I got here? The ends of the carrots and then some tomatoes. So yeah, literally anything. I've even got some lettuce there, which is just little bits and pieces. What is that? That is the end of a spring onion, because we usually always use the green part and then leave the white part. We discard it. So I've got that to add some more flavor. And some baby leeks, also the end that you wouldn't normally use. So many ways to recycle and reuse your veg and then reduce food waste. The end of the celery, because we use the green part, so that's normally quite a fibrous part that we wouldn't eat. That's going to go in, and celery and carrots and onion are a really good base for a vegetable stock. Yeah, so things like cauliflower, I've got a tiny bit of cauliflower here, but cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, those kind of things you don't really want to put in a vegetable stock because they can become quite bitter. Even baby marrows, the longer they cook, they become bitter, and then you don't want that in your stock. So save those for something else, maybe a soup or a stir fry. But yeah, all of this we can use. And then I just got some extras just so that we've got more bulk going on. But this is some pumpkin, which is looking a little bit sad. So I'm going to put that in, and then some more carrots and the leeks and the celery. Things like potatoes, you don't want to put in a stock because it's going to make it really gloopy and cloudy. So yeah, vegetable stocks is not all vegetables. There are some better options to use. So I've got a little gas cooker today because then I can be here and rather here than at the stove. So let me get that on. That sounds quite. Here we go. Okay, so to extract some nice flavor out of the veggies first, you're going to just brown them. caramelize them nicely, because that will also add more depth of flavor into your stock. And a lot of the flavors are oil or fat soluble, so then the oil is going to help draw it out rather than just boiling them away in water. I think let's try and start with some of the things that will take a little bit longer, like the onion and the carrots, the harder veg, and then we can get those in. So just chop as much of that as you can so that we are hardly wasting anything. I'm just going to throw away that bit with the root on. Okay, so there's some onion. Lychee is very interested here, but I'm sure he wishes that this was a chicken or a beef stock and not a veggie stock. And on that note, if you had a roast chicken, then you could put the whole carcass in with your veggies and just let that boil away to make a chicken stock. That's going quite crazy there. Got some more onion. Who else is here? Sharon, I saw Sharon say hello. Pat, hello Pat. Yeah, it is freezing in Cape Town. I had to leave my jacket on. Hello Annalise, Ismarie, and Amy. Hello everybody. Okay, so I think these bits with the carrot with the root on, just put the whole thing in there, because we're going to strain the veggies off at the end, and then you could blend all of that up to make a soup. But yeah, don't be scared of ugly veg. It's still loaded with nutrients and really good for you. So we basically are just going to sweat all of this out a little bit and get it nice and brown. Because without the meatiness of bones, you almost want the edges of the veggies to catch a little bit and go nice and brown so that it adds that savory flavor. You can use, I've got fresh mushrooms, but you can use dried mushrooms, just rehydrate them, because those will also add a nice meatiness, like the boniness that would come from a bone broth. Okay. Leftover peppers, if you've got parsnips, tomatoes, what else? There's so much that you can use. That's already browning. The onions are already caramelizing nicely. How was everybody's weekend? Definitely winter is upon us. So we've made a couple of soups already for you guys. And there's usually always vegetable stock in a soup. So now you can make your own and then put this in your soup or in stews and curries. I'm going to post a recipe shortly of doing a meal in a jar. So there's a jar, you see, and you'll put all like your leftover cooked chicken or whatever vegetable sources of protein you want into the jar with some noodles, and then your frozen vegetable stock, just pop it in there in the morning, and by the time it's lunchtime, it's defrosted, and then you just add some boiling water, and you've got like instant noodles with really good flavor. Let's put the leek in. This is quite hot. Okay. And the celery and the little leeks. So the ideal time to let all of this stuff simmer together once you've added the water is about an hour to an hour and a half. Any longer than that, and the flavors basically just start to disintegrate and you'll lose them again. So there is a sweet spot. By caramelizing them and browning them, we're concentrating the flavors, and then we just need a bit of water to extract all of that some more, and then it's done. There's a question. How do we rehydrate mushrooms? That should work, but I think it needs to be boiling water, and they're not going to go completely soft like a fresh mushroom. You basically just want to bring them alive again, soften them slightly to bring the flavors out. Okay. Any old herbs that you've got that are looking sad, those must go in here, but we'll put those in later just before we add the water. It smells pretty good, and it's just veggies. Okay, some pumpkin. So in case you missed the beginning, I had a Ziploc bag, and every time I cooked something during the week, then it went into the Ziploc bag and into the fridge or the freezer. Depends how long you want to collect all of this stuff for. All the little scraps of, whoops, see, there's a cauliflower. I'm sure Leechy's going to find it shortly. All the scraps that you would have thrown away, the ends of a lettuce, a sad-looking tomato, all of that can go in here. Okay, let's get the celery in. Cool. Okay, and then these things I'll save for a little bit later. Might have needed a bigger pot, but it should be fine. And the more color you have, the more nutrients you have. So go wild with what you're putting inside there. Let's get these peppers in. There we go. Leechy found the cauliflower on the floor. It's a crazy dog. What dog eats cauliflower? Things like the rind of Parmesan cheese can also go. So when you get to that really hard bit at the end, keep it and put it in your vegetable stock. Just gonna keep building nice flavors, add a little bit of saltiness. One thing, it's up to you. I'm not putting garlic in the stock because like the broccoli and the baby marrows and the cabbage, it can become a little bit bitter with the garlic. And if you're not quite sure what you're going to be using your stock for, you might not want garlic. So add garlic to the final dish that you're going to make rather than to the actual stock. And then the same with salt. We're not going to put salt in this, rather keep it just pure vegetable form and then add salt to your final dish. Can't believe what a huge pot of stuff we've put together just from scraps. Okay. And all of this would have been thrown away. Okay, so some mushrooms going in there as well for some nice earthy umami flavor. That's that. Basically, every flavor your taste bud detects, that's umami. Salty, sweet, savory, sour, all of that. Okay. Then, these are the celery leaves. Those can go in there. I did give everything a rinse beforehand. Probably should have boiled the kettle. Let me do that. Maybe there's some water in there. Okay, quickly boil the kettle. Then, whatever herbs you want, really. I've got some rosemary that was starting to look a little bit sad, but it's still going to add flavor to your stock. Some thyme. And then bay leaves. These are fresh bay leaves, but if you've got dried bay leaves, those will work as well. And then, like I said, the rind from the Parmesan cheese. And then a couple of peppercorns. Just put those in we're just building up the flavor because we don't have that from the meat, so we need to build up the flavor. And the more flavor you're going to get depends on how many veggies you use. And I've also, to add to that umami-ness, is just some tomato paste. So you can put a little bit. I'll probably use half of this sachet in with all the veggies. Sharon says, how do you know at what stage the veggie is too fraught? I think if it's slimy, if it's got blemishes on it, then you wouldn't want to put that in a salad or serve it to people. But if it's a little bit slimy, then it's probably beyond using it. But mushrooms can go pretty nuclear, and they would be okay for something like this. But the things like celery and you'll just have to judge it. Okay, so I'm going to put my herbs in there as well, and just chop this parmesan rind up. You also want to keep the veggies quite big because then they've got bigger surface area for all their flavors to extract out of. And my peppercorns. It smells so yum. So when this is finished, which we might not see the end of today because it needs about an hour to simmer, I've got 3 options for how you can store this. So, first one is a silicone baking tray, muffin tray. Just pour your stock. So you're going to strain it to take the vegetables away, and then you'll just have the liquid left behind. And then pour it into the muffin tray and freeze it. And then you've got nice little portions to pop into a stew or a curry or a soup ready to go. You could take one of those and put it into your food jar. So if you've got some instant Chinese rice noodles, those could go in there with some leftover cooked pumpkin, baby marrows, chickpeas, leftover chicken, whatever you want. Think like a deconstructed stir fry almost. Pop one of your veggie stocks in there, maybe with a bit of soy sauce. What else? Some peanut butter or peanuts. You build your flavors the way you want to. Lid on and take it to work. And then by the time it's lunchtime, that little muffin veggie stock, what word am I looking for? You know what I mean. But that would have defrosted. And then you go and boil the kettle in the office at work, pour some water in just to basically rehydrate your noodles. And then you've got a really nice instant noodle jar with lots of veggies for lunch. Otherwise, get yourself some little jars like this. And you don't want to fill it all the way. You need to leave some room for it to expand when it freezes, but a lid on, and then that can go in the freezer as well. And then you've got a whole bunch of jars. Just leave that to defrost for when you need it. Okay, so the kettle is boiled. I'm going to just cover the veggies with it. And then in with about half the tomato paste, just to add some more richness. Okay. Can you see in my pot? Not really. Maybe if I bring it closer. There. Okay, so now all of that just has to simmer together, blip away, all the flavors marrying together. Any other questions? Okay, I'll do a quick recap. So any scraps that you have that you would normally throw away when you're making a salad, roasting some vegetables, keep them. Have a Ziploc bag in your fridge or in the freezer and add those scraps. So the root ends of things, root ends of onions, carrots, red, yellow, green peppers, all of that can go in. And then things that are starting to look a bit sad and no longer appetizing or appealing to the eye, all of that can go in here. And then start it off by browning everything in a bit of olive oil, and that is also to extract the fat-soluble flavors, and then just that caramelization is going to add a nice depth of flavor and meatiness to your stock. And then the more flavor you get will depend on however many veggies you add. So when those have sweated off nicely, then pop some water in and all your herbs in, and the rind from the Parmesan cheese. I think that's a winner, that one. And then cover it with water and let it simmer away. And then strain it, and you get it in the freezer in a way that's going to be easy for you. Maybe some really mini Ziploc bags, and then lie them all flat on top of each other and freeze those. But I'd imagine it would be good in the fridge for about a week after you've prepared it. And then put it in curries, put it in your soups, in your stews. What else could we add it to? There's so many options. Noel, have I said your name correctly? Noel. So when you've drained the actual veggies or separated the veggies from the liquid, then absolutely mash it up into a bolognese. That's such a good idea, because then you're sneaking some veggies in there as well, and hopefully the kids won't know. Or just make a soup. So blend them, add a bit of milk, or you can then add your stock back into your pureed veggies to use those. So that's a really good idea to reuse. Or just mash it up and have a mixed vegetable mash to go with whatever protein you are serving at that meal. Could you freeze it again if the veggies were originally frozen? Yeah, I would say so. It's more meat that you don't want to thaw and refreeze because just pathogens. But veggies should be okay, especially because you would have given everything a wash before you start cooking it. So that was pretty much our short and sweet meal prep Monday. I will post a picture when it's all finished and bottled and ready to go, and I'll let you know how it tastes. I didn't add garlic. Just a reminder, you rather add the garlic to the curry that you're making and then put the veggie stock just as it is. And I didn't do any salt either. So just pure veggie goodness. And you can add the salt when you are doing your actual meal. So guys, that is it. Our challenges are live. So, sorry, Sharon, one more question. How long cook for again? So I'd say between an hour and an hour and a half, but not longer than that, because then it's just going to turn to mush. Also no potatoes in there, because it's going to make like paper mache, Mod Podge glue with the potatoes. If you guys want to sign up for a challenge, those are live now, and they kick off on the 7th of June. But otherwise, our one-on-one program is amazing as always. So if you need that little bit of extra accountability, then come sign up for the one-on-one. Otherwise, have a beautiful week. Stay warm, eat well. And I will see you on Wednesday for the Jeff Cook. Adrian's going to come and cook with me. There's quite a few components to it. They're very simple, but get the recipes so that you can have everything ready and then cook along with us. So we'll see you there. Have a wonderful day, and chat soon. Bye.